Alright, welcome back to my farm. So this is the home base here where I have all my stuff laid out. I have them centered in the middle here so that they're conveniently close to the chests on either side. And as you can see, there are conveyor belts that feed into the chests, which we'll get into in a little bit. Down here I've just got my miscellaneous stuff that's coming from my fighting pits. Right here is all of my ore that I've built up from a variety of different ore nodes spread out all throughout the lands, and very lengthy uh, conveyor belts leading to them. Here I've got all my wood. Up here I've got all my food. And this is just a bunch of things that I made over a period of time. And all my explosives are over here. These are all my various chests for my armors, my weapons, and for jewelry. And this is just a random box. Alright, starting the tour, let's go ahead and check out my zoo. I've got my dodos who love to breed like crazy. Over here, I haven't decided what to put in here just yet. I haven't dug that far deep into that. Here I've got my camels. And over here I've got my, I don't know what the hell these things are, but they give good food. And my solo little gangster sheep here. In order to feed them, I have to fix these later on, but I've got my automated farm. There's a conveyor belt leading up that the seeds feed into and then plant them on the other side. I've got a couple rows of that going on. Eventually they all filter down this way and come out over here on the conveyor belt. The first set of conveyor belts, or first set of arms, will pick up any seeds, so they just go right back around. If it's not a seed and it's actually a heartberry, it'll kick down here where these two arms will grab them and feed them into this. There's a splitter which will take it down to where my sheep is at and take the rest of the berries over this way, which leads them into these things that are supposed to mulch them out into different seeds. I think my splitter, yeah. Well, oh, it's this one right here. I don't have a filter for it just yet, so it's kicking some seeds out into here, and there's no way of filtering them, so they just kind of sit here to be collected. So anyway, that's my farm, which feeds into my zoos. Same thing over here, I'm doing the glow one, see how it's splitting them for me. Some of them going down here to my abominations upon the Lord, and the rest of them are going off to be turned into seeds again. Eventually, once I get enough going, I had it set up so that excess would go this way and feed into a conveyor belt that would lead back to my chest for like foods and whatnot. So I got my bomb peppers for whatever's going to go there. I've got my oats going to these guys. I've got my glowy things going to those guys, and my heartberries go to those guys. I don't know what their preferences are. I haven't really dug that deeply. Up here, I've got my gleamwood being farmed. There's a row of seeds, and they're being expanded into these basic drills. The drills lead them up this way, which kicks them into saws, which will turn them into planks for me, and then feed downward. Now, I've got so much base gleamwood that I don't really need base gleamwood, but if you want to do that, I did have a splitter here, which would send it out around so it would be turned into planks. But at this point, I've got so much plank wood and regular wood that I don't really need to differentiate, so I just send them all that way. Over here I do the same thing with coral wood, and you could do the same thing for regular wood using root seed if you prefer. And it kicks them into planks, and all the planks are fed into this conveyor belt, which ultimately leads back to my main base. this way you can kind of see how that works. So they're fed into that conveyor belt, and I use the crystals down there to kill any monsters that try and sneak into my main base. Here I use these crafting sorters to pull the items across so that I don't have a bunch of extra conveyor belts. I mean, I could just take a conveyor belt and lead it down this way if I wanted, but I thought it'd look a little cleaner taking that out and just letting the sorter do it for me. Same thing here. I could have just done a conveyor belt across, but used the sorter instead. And ultimately, leads back into my base, as you can see here. And my wood turns into planks and are stored here. For some reason, I'm getting Wildwood Warden pants in there as well. I need to create a sorter for that. And there's some like seeds that pop in there too. Up this way is where all my food supplies and all the animal products are put away. And then I've got a little bearded guy trapped in here at some point. And I like keeping him around because he gives me these little cursed curious eggs, which I can use to farm out one of the trophies for having one of each color. And I just kind of put them in my little egg sorters down here, which will do all the work for me. And I have like 2 sets of them going, so these are almost done. These are just getting started. I can come check on them later. I have some other vendors over here that I've collected the pieces for over time. I'm sure there's more vendors that I could get, but I'm at the end of the game. I don't really need any of that. So those are the first 2 chests, my wood and my animal products. I have a middle chest here that collects ore and turns it into bars. And then down here I've got a miscellaneous chest that is collecting stuff from my my murder dome, which I'll show you guys in a bit. But right now, since we're over here, let's take a look at the ores section. So I set my farm to have an abundant amount of ore branches, and I sent out conveyor belts to collect all of those, and it ultimately leads into this conveyor belt and feeds into these different arms. Each arm collects a different type of ore. Like my first one is going to collect copper. Notice I picked that out. My next one is going to collect tin, I believe. And this one will collect iron, which I accidentally just picked up a piece of iron. Here is my gold, I believe. The next one is going to be my whatever the red thing is that it just picked up, and so on and so forth. Getting into there, you can see the arms, pick them up, drop them in the tanks, and it smelts them for me and kicks them out. I have a splitter set up so that it can kind of split the load between 2 different smelters, and a third one up top if I ever want to manually sort them myself. I do that for each section. Down here I kind of ran out of room and I couldn't really fit as much. Oh, actually I did expand it so I could fit 3 different types. So this first arm is going to pick up like Galaxite, this one's going to pick up Serenite, this one will pick up the one that starts with P, Palladium or Peridium or whatever. And this is going to be for the new ore, which I really haven't gotten out to find just yet. And ultimately they get sorted and kicked out into the top side, which will give them, as you can see, the bars lead into my ore chest right here. Alright, next up, let's take a look at my fishing chest down here. I've got a bunch of fish, and as you can see, there's a conveyor belt that leads out to it. My cleverly labeled mines and shit section here, as you can see. So my fish come through a conveyor belt which leads down this way, and I have a variety of different fishing ponds. So I've got the blue one that comes from the crystal area, I've got this one which comes from like the sulfur area with the peridium or palladium or whatever the hell it's called. This is regular fishing water. And over here I've got some more of that palladium or whatever because they give pretty high quality fish, so I like keeping them. And so forth, the moldy water, regular water, and then I've got fire water down the way. So I have a worm area that collects worms and eventually feeds it into these sections using this conveyor belt right here. So this one will pick them up. You'll see that pop up in a second. At least you should, unless it kicks the worm downward. Of course it had to kick it downward. Oh, there you go. Oh, and it already has worms in it. So the worms are collected here. Eventually something will be fished, and either excess worms or fish will be collected by this arm, leading to the next net. If it ends up being worms, it'll collect them in the net. If it's excess, then it'll collect it in this arm. Any fish that are collected, same thing, will be collected in this arm. And it just kind of goes down the list, and it does that over and over and over again, leading into the next pond over this way, and eventually leading back to my main conveyor belt. Now, how do I get the worms? That's an excellent question. I have a whole section down here of critter nets. I don't know that you need these yellow things, but I put them anyways. I had a bunch of extras. But I have fruit coming in at the bottom, as you can see. They go into the net, just like my fishing. Any excess gets caught by this second arm right here and taken to the next net. And it goes up and around, eventually leading back down here where it goes to a next conveyor and does the whole same process over again, eventually leading into all these worms you see being kicked out, which will eventually lead to my fishing ponds. Now, in order to have all this heartberry, I need to have a pretty healthy farm for it. I need to figure out what's going on there, why it's not kicking them out like they should be, but that's a problem for another day. Anyhow, I have my heartberries set on a farm that I'm, as you can tell, in the process of expanding. All the seeds should be coming out this way, but for some reason it's kicking berries out. I think those are just excess berries. And those berries will be filtered downward, which leads into my seeds, or filtered upwards, where they'll be upwards will they be turned into more seeds, downward where they'll be turned into worms eventually. I have the bottom set here entirely going to my worms, and my top section over here, this row and this row right here, will be feeding into the seeds so that I can replenish my supply and not run out of seeds. Though I think I ran out of seeds because the seed thing over here is broken. I'll have to fix that later, but if it's working properly, they get pulled onto that, and if it's a berry, my arm here will kick it downward. Ah, that's the issue. Okay, I need to fix that because it's supposed to be carrying them. Oh wait, no, that's working as intended. That's just pulling all my extra berries. Yeah, I'm gonna take you out. That's supposed to be set to pick seeds. I didn't set the filter properly for it. Each of these things has a filter. You can click the little eyedropper and tell it what you want it to pull. Like if I wanted to pull only heartberry seeds, I would click on that and it would only pull heartberry seeds from across. Same thing with my conveyor belt, since I do have seeds. Go ahead and set it there. Click on my eyedropper, and I'm going to tell it only to pick heartberry seeds, so that those are eventually fed back into my farm. If not, if it's regular heartberries, then it should filter in here, where my splitter, which is right there, will either send it north or south and turn it into more seeds. And then the seed thing is supposed to kick them out this way, where it leads right back into the process, and all my seeds are sent back out into the farm. The bottom row, I don't have that splitter. Actually, let me double check this is set right. Yeah, see, so that one's set right. It's pulling only heartberry seeds to go back into the farm. Otherwise, regular heartberries will go back into this lane and be fed into my um, nets. And then the nets are fed into the variety of different arms that I have going upward. So again, you go to the top here. Should always leave an opening right before the arm, otherwise they kind of collect like it was just doing there. So the arm, oh, the arm is not getting any power. There. I don't have any power nodes on me, but once I get that powered correctly like it's supposed to, it'll pick up the worms and take the worms into the net. Any excess worms or any fish it catches are collected by the next arm and then led down through my little Rube Goldberg device here and back into my conveyor belt. Excess worms will lead into the next ponds. Any excess fish go right back into the conveyors at the bottom here. Right, so that is my fish pond. Next section we're going to look at is my murder dome. The murder dome started out with this little guy. I made lanes, which seemed to be pretty popular with folks, but I didn't really make them long enough, and they weren't really putting out a lot. Like, you don't see anything being created right now. It takes like 22 minutes for any given slot to kick out anything in particular. So I decided to expand, and I made Murder Dome 2.0 appear. And this has got a variety of different types in it. And I made some little divots here so that I can keep an eye on it. These guys love to destroy my Galaxite armory here. So periodically I got to break down a wall and fix the Galaxite. I thought maybe putting a ditch in or putting a water in there would do that, but I mean, so far it's holding up okay. But I think it's the boomerang guys that are doing it. So yeah, as you can see, they've already destroyed one right here. I'll have to fix that later. Right. And basically I just have conveyors that takes it all the way around. And eventually they'll be collected by one of my collectors, which is right here. We'll collect them all and feed them down into this little guy. Hey. And this conveyor will eventually feed into a bunch of shredders, which I have set up. See, they're going down this little conveyor belt, which I put outside the base just for aesthetic purposes. But this little collector will pick them up, feed them into a shredder. Unfortunately, shredders can only shred one item at a time, and it takes forever to shred them. So I set up a whole bunch of them in case I got a bunch. This will shred them, the next arm will collect the materials, or if there's another item that can be shredded and can't be put in there, we'll put it in the next shredder, and so forth and so forth. This is probably overkill, but ultimately it leads into a bunch of items that are collected and put into this next thing down here. Sorry, there it is. So this will collect them all, see? Whoop, and pops up down there. I don't remember what this conveyor belt was for. I think this is just a remnant from another time. Oh, no, this is actually any excess worms are supposed to be going through here and then fed back into the farm. That's what it was. See, at the end of my fishing farm, if we can get there, takes a little while. I think I went a little overkill on this. It's supposed to be collecting worms, but I think I need to move this down one. So I'm going to put this right here so that it collects the worms first. Otherwise, I find they're going right back into the system. And then I'll take that. And it looks like I need to get one more arm. Yeah, I'll just take it from here. I don't need it there anyway. Ooh, you sneaky buttery. There you go. And put that there, so now the worms should go back into the process like they're supposed to. And that's all it is just trial and error, figuring out what's working, what's not working. And that is the bulk of my location. As you can tell, I really, really, really hated fishing. But in the end, these are all my fish ponds. They gather their materials from my worm farm right here. The worms gather the necessary berries from this section here. And it's all fully automated. Any fish that I catch are collected on this little conveyor belt and lead back into this chest right here. And for my ore, as you can tell, I've marked all of my ore veins with the little diamond icon, and they have conveyor belts that ultimately lead back in to here. That's what this is. Any from the north, they come down this conveyor belt, which leads over this way, and ultimately into my main conveyor belt for mines. From the south, same thing. That lane leads into that, and from the east, they come down that way and over this way, and all lead into the mines here, or into the smelters that I have set up here. Up top, I've got my farm, which creates berries and stuff for my animals. And my animals have a little conveyor belt running along here that lead into a chest like right around there. And then I've got my murder dome, which collects miscellaneous materials and leads them into a conveyor belt down this way next to my original murder dome. And they filter into this section right here, which is a bunch of shredders, and then takes those materials down and around the base here. And I have a little item thing that pulls the extras materials and runs them down this way into oh, sorry, they run here, and then that's what this second conveyor line is, leading into my chest right there. And all my vendors here, my chests are located in a good spot so that they can pull from any of these chests. So I can craft anything in this middle section. Up here, I was going to do another farm, but I just ran out of energy for it. So this is just dead space for right now. Same thing over here. I was actually going to do my worm farm here, but I figured out that I don't need that many worm farms. So this is just extra section that I'm probably just going to turn into a murder dome eventually. And right here is my Mario Kart, which the game provides for you. It's kind of hidden in different areas, but it's a rather neat idea. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Hopefully this one works properly. This is the third time I've tried to make this video.